Hey, good afternoon, guys. UC here from iTradePrice. It is August 17th, a little after 1:40 p.m. Eastern, Saturday. So just wanted to go over some of the charts, stock charts. So let us get started and go to Thinkorswim platform. So you're looking at a chart of NASDAQ, E-mini NASDAQ, NQ, right? Kind of mirrors QQQ as well. And on a weekly basis, about couple of weeks ago on Monday, we saw a big gap down, right? The market moved and you can see it really nicely touched this uptrend line, right? Right over here around 171, 200, 300 level, and then bounced nicely. The following week, which was this last week, we saw a nice upside follow through right into the level from where it broke down from, right at the weekly level. So if I kind of zoom in, you can see this was the support area, right? And once we broke down from there, we kind of retested right here, moved all the way down, bounced from uptrend line, and now we're at this retest of this 19,695, 700 area, right? I think we will have some resistance here going. We have seen nice 2 weeks of gains. If I go to daily view, no red day recently, and we're this last Friday, yesterday, we tried to get back up above this resistance, couldn't do it. Sort of a doji looking pause bar, just like that. We'll see what happens in the coming 2 days, couple of days. Maybe it kind of goes sideways a little bit and attempts to break out of that. If it does, we have this zone where we saw the resistance area, right? So it can kind of move towards that zone around. Maybe it's almost like another 300, 400 points, right? Psychological 20,000 level. But if we are to break down, I would say let's go into hourly view and let me bring the levels right here. Okay, so we're still on a nice up channel in the hourly view. So if we were to get bearish, right, we really need to get back under this uptrend line and break below this 19,450, 445 area, because that's the intraday support from Friday, right? Breaking down below that, we got 19,316 and this whole consolidation area around 19,100 area, right? So that can be the targets on the downside and the weakness, right? But really on the upside, this is the weekly resistance 19,720. Unless we get above that, a 4-hourly bar closes above that, then we can definitely say, okay, this is broken out, and we can target the 20,000 towards the upside on a higher time frame. Okay. All right, let's get to QQQ just to kind of give you a similar look and feel. Weekly view, right? Very similar to NQ. Nice bounce from this long-term uptrend line, right there. So this was a support zone as well, 413.4. We never traded that area, but we saw a nice bounce from above that. And now if you drill down to, let's say, a daily view, right, we have these a little bit of gaps on the upside. So if we break down a little bit, if we pull back a little bit, right, this is a good area to kind of target on the short term, right? Over here, 464, 465, and then we have 455.5, right? So it could be probably an inverse head and shoulder kind of play, but this is the area to kind of look for if it wants to pull back and consolidate, right? We are at the resistance level, 476.3. You can see a couple of touch points right there. We saw a breakdown right there, gap down. We never traded above that, retested that, and now we paused very much right into that zone, right? So if we get above that, we got this area right here to target on the upside. Okay, if we break below there, we have this gap fill, and like I said, 455.5 on the downside. Okay, SPY, let's get to a weekly chart. Actually, just want to look at the monthly view as well, what's going on. So on the monthly view, no harm done to the uptrend, right? On a monthly level, we're still very much bullish. Yes, we did break down a little bit in the weekly view, right? We tested this 512, 510 area, and now we see this nice looking bottom wick, right? We still have almost 2 weeks before this month ends, so a lot can happen, right? This is not the final shape, but just to kind of leave you where we are in terms of the monthly time frame. Weekly view, nice two trend bars, weekly trend bars, right? Closing right into the top of its early June time frame resistance area right there. So let's see what happens here. But if we get above that, then we got the test of all-time high back into cards, right? So it can kind of move over there, and we have this. But the only concern I have a little bit is that the volume is just it's just not there. I don't see any confidence in the buyers. I think maybe I'm comparing it with this one, which was the Monday, the bloody Monday we saw, right? And since then, that was it. That was the bottom, right? And we kind of very nicely, swiftly moved all the way up. I just think it came back up really quickly, so I do expect some resistance here, and the move down towards maybe a gap fill towards 545, right? Again, something like this. And then once we get there, we'll kind of look at the price action, what's going on. Are we getting bottom wicks here or not? But if we get above this 554.3, let me bring the level right there. Okay, so yeah, this is the one we need to break above. So keep this sort of uptrend line as your guide to kind of tell you where we are in terms of the bias, market bias, because we can still kind of see a little bit of breakdown or pullback and kind of move back up from here, because this is the Friday intraday support area, right? So we can kind of do that and move back up. So unless that happens, unless we really significantly break down under 549, it's really don't need to pick up a top, right? Yes, we will start a series of down moves, but in order to do that, we need to see some breakdowns, right? And if we get above 555, which is the weekly area, weekly resistance zone, you can see we kind of tested that right here and broke down. This is this resistance zone as well. So yeah, so it can move up, Monday, Tuesday, whatever, and then break down, right? So kind of just keep that in mind. Keep a tight stop loss if you are playing the long here. All right, let's get into some stocks. AMD. Again, long-term uptrend line bounce, right? We got these 3 nice touch points. It was a nice swing area long, if anybody got in, right? This was the resistance on the way up. We broke out of this, right? So this was the first retest touch bounce of this zone since we broke out late last year, right? So on a weekly level, this was a good level to get long. If you're holding long, this is nice. Does not hurt to raise your stop losses a little bit. Here's the daily view. Now the real test is this 153, 154 area, because that was the support zone. And now once we broke down, we got a retest, rejection. So this is our immediate upside target, and then probably it doesn't hurt to trim a little bit over here and see if we kind of wants to move back up or what wants to move back down. If it wants to move back down, then the real support is around just under 140. I think, let me bring the levels. Yeah, so just under 141 all the way to 137. This could be your pullback zone right here if you miss this run. Okay, let's take a look at Tesla, everybody's favorite name. Weekly view, kind of I don't know, weird looking chart, to be honest with you. It's just kind of trading everywhere, right? It's a hard read from at least price action perspective, right? Yes, we can say on a weekly zone, on a weekly level, this was the resistance, right? As you could see, we broke down from right here, retested that, and then we consolidated with this little support area, broke out, and since after earnings, it's just not gone anywhere, just kind of making series of lower highs, looks like, right? So if we really need to get above that in order to extend this downtrend line right here. So we're kind of right there, right? it kind of paused right there. And if I bring the levels just to kind of make it a little bit more clear, I know it becomes a little confusing to see, but if you drill down to a lower time frame, it becomes clear, right? This was the support zone right here. We broke down, kind of consolidated, and moved slowly, crawled back up, and now we have this downtrend line, right? So until we get above this uptrend line, this downtrend line, and close above that, right, then you can target this next value area around 235, right? Because that was the support all this time. We couldn't move back up above that once we broke down right there. And now if we move back up, this is the level to target. If we move back down, then look for this uptrend line as your guide to tell you where we can land on the weakness, right? But for right now, the support area on the hourly time frame is pretty obvious: 211, 210.6, right? That's where we have this breakout from, and then the retest, and then bounce. So unless we can get below that, comfortably, yeah, we can still see a bounce, right? So, and if we break down below that, then this becomes your sort of your target on the downside, the subtrend line. And then if it can back up or down, we don't know. We'll get there once we get there. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at Amazon. Has made some nice moves since the past couple of weeks. Here's a weekly view again. All these mega names, these big cap names, have this same look and feel with that they bounce from this long-term uptrend line, right? Anytime you look at it, probably Amazon, Google, all those names kind of have a similar look and feel, uptrend line bounces, right? So far, nice bounce, right? Again, on a weekly level, this was the support area around 177.5. So we kind of nicely paused there. If we can get above that, let's take a look at the daily view, right? The gap fill is around until 184, right? And then the value area, the resistance area, where the price really, kind of broke down from, did not really manage to go above, is 190, right? So we still have some room until this sort of gap fill zone till 185. If we can manage that on the downside, we have a gap fill at 172.5, right? So those are the two levels to look for if you're trading this name. Let's take a look at the levels. So yeah, if we can kind of draw some uptrend line from here as well, that can be also a clue as to where the price wants to go, because that's where we have the breakout from. So it can really kind of move down there if it is weak, right? If it goes back up, then this downtrend line becomes your target on the upside. Okay. All right. Apple used to be a name I like, but it's just, I don't know, man. I still look at it, but really don't trade it that much personally. This 228 is the level, the resistance level, and the weekly, we have these couple of touch points right there, right? One, this one did not really make all the way there, but still a resistance area, we can say. So this becomes your sort of, line in the sand. Above that, really nicely bullish. We can test all-time highs. If we see some rejection here, then definitely we can move back towards 216 zone, right? Because that's where we saw a really nice rally that kind of started from, right? So this one is your, let me mark it on the chart right here, is your pullback zone. We got these actually two levels to look for on the downside, 219 and 215.6 zone, right? That's where we can kind of move towards if we see a pullback. So the Apple doesn't really move that much, but when it does give you these big swings. But on a daily basis, it's just kind of contained price action, choppy price action, things like that. So this is where we saw the breakdown from. So let's see what happens here. Okay, let's look at Meta. Very nice move from this 453 area, right? We all thought that it's going to break down, but just kind of move back all the way up. Still, on a monthly level, still nicely in the uptrend. No really bearish, trend bars. On a weekly level, just some pullback into the weekly support zones, right? I would say like something like this right here, right? So still overall in the range on a weekly level, but that's still $100 range, right? So still okay. But on a daily level, again, I don't really trade this name that much, but let me bring the levels. So here is some clues that you can get, right? If we get a back test of this broken downtrend line, right? So this could be your area to look for a bounce. This is the sort of the all-time high. So let's see if it can manage to get back above that area. So maybe we consolidate here, you know, in the way we kind of retest this back test this downtrend line as well and see a nice bounce, because this is also a weekly support. So again, from trade perspective, from risk and reward perspective, this is the area to kind of look for that move to go long, right? I mean, if going long here, you might be stuck because it could be this resistance kind of comes into play right here. Okay, let's take a look at Microsoft. Let me go into the weekly view. Okay, so again, you know, we saw a little bit of breakdown from this long-term uptrend line, right? But we did see a nice bounce from the previous resistance turn support, right? Because on the way up, this was the breakout level, right? We retested that level, saw a nice bounce, and again, from that perspective, we saw a nice bounce from the same 385 area on a weekly level. And now actually we're back testing this uptrend line. So from, if you're bearish, if you want to play this name on the bearish side, this is the level to look for a short, right? Maybe your stop can be a little above 431, 433, something like that, just so that if it wants to move up a little bit and then break down, just so that you have some room. But on a daily basis, we are right there at the back test of this uptrend line, right? That's where we saw the price broke down from. This was the support, right? Tried to move back up, couldn't do it, broke down, now crawling back up. So this could be the short zone, right? To look for a move down back into this support line, which is around 405, 406, right? But if it manages to kind of break through this wall, then 431 is the level above, because that's where we saw the price kind of move down from. So on a level basis, here are the levels, right? Key levels to look for in multi-time frame, to look for bounces, rejections, and kind of just to kind of guide your trade from that side. Okay, NVDA, what is going on with this name? Weekly view. So we are approaching this sort of down trend line, right? On a weekly, daily basis, right there. Still have some room on the upside, 127-ish, 128, right? If it wants to move down, and then I would expect some pause there, at least from technical perspective, right? We saw a nice 2-week gain there. Earnings are also coming up later in the month. That could be a catalyst. On a daily view, we are managing to stay above this uptrend line, right? With a little bit of pullback. If you want to play on the upside, this was the resistance area. We kind of managed to nicely get back above that. So this becomes your uptrend line plus retest of this key level, which was a resistance before, and now it can act as a support, right, before it wants to break out. But this is the area on the upside that can be the resistance, right? This is a gap fill area here as well. So this is a gap fill right here. Above that, we got 131.6, where it can move towards if it breaks above this downtrend line, right? So let me go into a sort of hourly view. Here is the hourly view, right? This was the resistance. Let me kind of mark that one right here. This one, right? This was the resistance zone. So if you extend that, we are nicely above that. So this becomes your retest bounce. If it wants to go down, this is your uptrend line area to look for a bounce, you know. So this can be the scenarios to look for in case of a pullback. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at Google. On a weekly view, we are actually very nicely, actually this was the green box zone, right? So if you look at the monthly chart right there, sorry, I know it's a monthly chart, nobody trades a monthly chart, but just to kind of give you a perspective, right? This was the resistance zone, right? We nicely broke above that, and on a monthly level we tested that. So this was the level for a swing long, 153.8 right there, right? We are already up almost $10 from that area, so maybe it can still consolidate that before it gives a nice move back towards the upside, and this can be your stop loss, or just a little below, maybe a psychological level of 150, right? Because maybe it can retest that zone again on a daily view. Here we are nicely consolidating, right? We only traded for 1 day or 2 days. Once we got into that retest of that level on a monthly level, right? Got some nice volume there as well, so looks nice, right? And now we are testing this 165.1. We already got some nice touch points there, right? So this is the area to look for bullish above, right? Neutral to slightly, I would say, sideways right here. And then if you really want to play on the downside, short, this is the area to take a short, because then this can be your tight stop loss. Anything above 166, 167, right? You can take that stop loss and say, hey, this wants to keep moving up. But if you really want to play on the short side from risk and reward perspective, this is a good area because this is the resistance zone for now. Okay. All right, let's take a look at a couple of more names. Maybe Netflix. All right. Really quick move back up. If I go into a weekly chart, I really actually was looking for the price to come all the way towards 549, 550, right? That was the retest area. And just the support as well. Price never came towards that level at all. It just kind of moved up very quickly, so really couldn't catch it. Now what happens? I would say look for a pullback, right? Where is the pullback? Let's bring the levels. So nice pullback is definitely around 647, 648 area, right? You can see we had multiple touch points here. That means resistance, top wicks. Once we got above that, so naturally this becomes your area to look for a pullback, for a swing trade, just from risk and reward perspective as well. Below that we got this one as the area as well, so this could be your add to look for the move back up, right? If that scenario plays out, because right now we are into its resistance level. That's where you saw the breakdown from. So very hard to take a long here, right? Because it can just kind of flush down a little bit and kill all the option premiums for call side, right? So if you want to play along, just look for that nice healthy pullback to stay long. Again, of course, it can keep going up, but trading is not only that. You really have to kind of watch and look for an edge, an area to get long where you won't get killed from. Okay. PLTR, another name, strong name, really nice close on the weekly level. Weekly chart looks nice. We are testing this top trend line of the channel, so maybe a retest is in the play, right? Over here back towards 293 point area right here before it moves back up. But for right now, really nice looking chart, strong name, momentum is there, and I think it's in the news as well. All these monthly bars are really nice and strong, with only the red bars are just pullback bars, right? They're not really sort of trend bars with nice ranges like these, right? Nice ranges like these. Right there, the red bars or the red months are only consolidation, and they pretty much stay within the sort of the inside bars, right, within the range of the bullish bars. So that kind of just tells you that pullbacks are being bought, right? So good looking name, good nice name to kind of trade and look to be long towards on any pullback for this. Earnings is not until late October or early November time frame, looks like. All right, guys, hope you guys like this little video. If you like it, if you have any questions, let me know. You can always email me, uc@itradeprice.com, and I'll try to get more regular on these now. So thank you, and have a good rest of your weekend. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.